Hey everybody, hey everybody, John the Other here, obviously. And I'm going to tell you a ridiculous story. It's a true story, but it's also ridiculous, that happened to me when I was a teenager, when I was in high school. There was a girl, I had a friend in high school that I used to walk home with. And we didn't really have a friendship outside of this walk. We both lived in the same neighborhood and we would walk home, and part of our route together ended up being this trail that went up all these hills, and then we got to the top of these hills and she would go to the left and I would go to the right because that's where my house was and her house was over there. But we would walk together pretty much daily for about 2 years, and it was about a 20-minute walk, and over that time we became quite good friends. Her name was Tanya. She looked like an athletic gazelle, and she had a big poof of hair and shirt, and I really liked her. But I didn't have a romantic relationship with her, and we didn't hang out, and we didn't go to each other's houses. We had this very contained friendship that existed on the walk home. And one day, I think she must have talked about me to her dad, or maybe wrote my name in the margin of a notebook and he saw it or something like that, because he came to pick us up at the school and insisted that I also get in the car, and he would drive us both home. He'd drive me home, drive her home. Well, he drove her home to their house first and dropped her off, and it was a house I'd never seen before because I didn't, we had this contained friendship that lived in the walk home. I'd never been to her house. Dropped her off, and then we drove a few blocks towards my place, and he pulled over and showed me that in the back of the car, in a carrying case, he had a shotgun. It was like a soft case with a zipper up the side. He had a shotgun in this car. And as I remember, I don't think he unzipped it or took the shotgun out or brandished it or pointed it at, none of that. He just had it in the car, and it was enough to know that there was a shotgun there in a case. And told me that it was a shotgun, pointed it out to me in the back of the car, and said that if I ever made his daughter cry or hurt her, he would use this shotgun to kill me. Now, I was not the steely-eyed, stone-hearted, flinty-faced, stone-cold, ultramarine, super combat tough guy that I am today. That's a slight exaggeration. I was a skinny, confused, and at this moment frightened teenage boy of 16 or 17 years old. And I was extraordinarily upset to be told that the dad of my friend, who I'd never met before, I'd never met any of her family, her dad, who'd come to pick me up and drive me home, had a shotgun and was threatening to kill me with it if I ever made his daughter cry. This was a girl who I was friends with in the narrow confines of, we walked home from school together for about 2 years, and it was a 20-minute walk. So we talked all the time, and I liked her. And I don't remember at this point what I said in response. Yes, sir, no, sir, I will never do that. I don't remember. I have no memory of what my actual response was. And I also don't remember if he then threw me out of his car or if I got out myself or told him F you. I don't remember. I do remember, though, I walked the rest of the way home. And by the time I got home, I was very frightened, not for my own safety, but for his. Because I had to prevent my father from finding out that this threat had occurred. My father, you see, was a psycho. And I don't mean a funny psycho like you see on a TV sitcom. He was a dangerous psycho. And I think that if my father had found out that some girl's dad had threatened to kill me with a shotgun, which he had, my dad would probably go right over there, and there would be violent mayhem and possibly murder. And then my dad would probably go to jail. So I was very scared of that happening. And so I had to conceal that this event had taken place, which meant, and I was very upset about it, so I also had to conceal my emotions, which meant, and my strategy for doing that was just to avoid everybody in my family for about a week so that nobody would see my face until I had kind of settled my emotions down, which took a few days. So that nobody would question me, what's wrong, John? What's wrong? Why are you so upset? And I never talked about it. And I never told Tanya about this either. And I never saw her again. I avoided her from that point forward. That was it. Cold turkey. I ghosted her hard. In fact, I started walking home a different way home from school so that we would not see each other. Because this whole thing had been freighted with this horrible threat. And it wasn't just a threat of violence against me, it was a threat that my dad would then respond, and there would be an escalation of violent and possibly murderous mayhem. So I concealed the whole thing, and I ghosted her, and that probably actually did make her cry, which might have been her dad's intention in the first place, to get rid of this, skinny kid that his daughter had talked about. And I never talked to her again. I saw her at school from time to time, but I always kept my distance. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is that if you are a dad, if you are somebody's dad, if you're the dad of a daughter or a son, there's a couple things I want to say to you. If you're the dad of a daughter, don't be threatening your daughter's boyfriends, because that's stupid. It's incredibly, incredibly stupid. First of all, it's a crime. You're threatening somebody with murder. You're committing a crime, okay? So don't do that. But the thing is, over the years, I've heard many different people tell versions of this story from the point of view of the dad. Yeah, I threaten my daughter's boyfriends. I show them my 38 special, or I threaten to break his legs, or I'll threaten to, dig a hole in the backyard and he'll disappear and his family will never see him again. I hear this kind of thing being said all the time by so-called decent guys who think that they're being noble and clever when they threaten with murder or violence the teenage boy that their teenage daughter might be interested in or is friends with. So if you're the father of a daughter, don't do that. Don't do that, you fuck. Okay? The other thing is, if you're the father of a son, because remember, every 16-year-old boy that you threaten has a dad. So if you're the father of a son, sit your son down and tell him calmly, in a tone that he understands that what you're telling him is the truth, that if he is ever threatened by the father of one of his girlfriends, if anybody's dad or uncle or big brother or protective adult of some female threatens him with violence or murder, that he shouldn't freak out. He shouldn't fight them. He shouldn't then pull out his own gun and shoot them or any stupid stuff like that. He should just be as calm as he can and get himself out of there, and then come and talk to you and tell you that happened. So tell your son that if any adult threatens him the way this story has unfolded, that he should come and talk to you. And then when your son, somewhere down the line, comes and talks to you and says, yeah, Tanya's dad pointed a shotgun at me or told me he'd break my legs, you say, okay, son, here's $20, go down to the mall and have a burger or whatever. Go watch TV. I'm going to go have a talk with him. And then you get in your car and you go to the house or wherever it is the guy is. You knock on his door. Say, hi, I'm the father of so-and-so kid. I understand you had a talk with my son. I also understand you threatened to kill him or maybe break his legs or whatever the threat was. And listen, I understand you're protective of your daughter. I get that. But listen, don't threaten my family ever under any circumstances. That is totally unacceptable and it's not going to happen again. Don't do it. So let's not do that. Instead, you come to my yard, you come to my house next week and we'll have a barbecue and we'll all be nice to each other. Let's shake hands. We agree that we're not going to be uncivilized cavemen. We're going to get along. And I don't know how this conversation would go. I'm kind of making it up as I go along here. Maybe the guy would yell at you. Maybe you throw a punch. It's your job not to lose your cool in this situation. Anyway, once you shake hands or once he yells at you and slams the door, whatever it is that happens, then you take the digital recorder out of your pocket and you have him arrested for threatening to murder your son. Thanks very much for watching, and as always, have a lovely, lovely day.